This all right? And we got
Are you able to hear me at all?
we got you.
Okay.
I should look that way out there. Of course, you can't even see us because we only look about an inch tall, right? From where the view you have. You don't even know who's talking. So I'll stand up. I'm the one that's wearing orange. I'm JR. Okay. All right, let's start this thing. We are now. Yeah, we got she just gave me the thumbs up, so that was Mikhail's fault, and Leslie and Bobo and Framework's fault for disturbing me. All right, Thursday, April 11th, we're calling this order at 5:03. And the roll call, position 1, Carla. She's here. Position 2, J.R. Russell, the chair in orange. I'm here. Mary Himes, not here. And she's not checking it. She's not going to be part on.
I have someone submitted as the iPhone whose audio is still connecting. That might be there.
Okay. Then newcomer, Valerie Steely. We won't even make you give a bio or tell us anything. We'll just go right to this. Cynthia Mason, the vice chair.
Here.
Tracy Davidson. She's online. I could see her name. We'll just count her as here. Okay. Therese Kinsbury in position 7. And council member Chris in our ex officio. Okay. So now everybody has the agenda in front of them. We're looking to approve that. Is anybody additions or corrections to that? Oh yeah, I guess we should. Okay, so Leslie and Craig and Brian Smith are out there. You can't see them, friends at home, but you might be able to see the back of somebody's head. Okay, recommend from the Parks and Rec and also from Framework. So next we'll move to the approval of the minutes from March 14th.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, that's done. So public comment, we'll move to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Oh, Mary's in, okay. So there,
We do have a public comment.
oh, that's right, I did see that, okay. I saw it on my phone just a little while ago. Can you call it up, or do you want me to read it? Because it's from John Michael Culligan.
I'm sorry, we have 3 public comments.
Okay.
Actually, can we just remember this one first from Bill Weinsheimer?
I don't have that one.
I'm going to go ahead and just read it into the record.
Okay.
Bill Weinsheimer, regarding the Creative Arts Foundation. I understand that the Creative Arts Foundation is having a coming out of sorts at tonight's council meeting. I hope that you come welcome them to our city and can find ways to leverage their energy to further vitalize our community. Communities need places for public to commune, to come together and enjoy experiences, exchange ideas, and celebrate achievements together. Just like so many small cities, Oak Harbor has few places for people to gather for entertainment and celebration. Instead, we sit in isolation, entertained by screens and starving for social interaction. Oak Harbor would benefit from a performing arts center and gathering space, both culturally and economically. The motivated members of the Creative Arts Foundation want to stimulate planning and fundraising to bring such a space to our city. And I hope you will share their vision to make Oak Harbor not just an adequate place to live, but a culturally vibrant community.
Mikhail, do you have a mic? Do you want me to read it? Read them? I'll read the next one. From John Colligan. Oh, I only have the one from John Colligan. Okay. From John Colligan, it says, we should make a performing arts center because it would bring out a lot of culture to the city and make an easily accessible place for people to watch music of any kind. As a musician in Oak Harbor, playing in the Oak Harbor High School Jazz Band, the Oak Harbor High School Wind Ensemble, the Saratoga Orchestra, and a variety of different ensembles ranging from orchestras to garage bands, I think there is a great deal of individuals and ensembles that make up the Oak Harbor population that would greatly benefit from a performing arts center. And having the center would allow people to find those performances much more easily. There's a third one.
He's spot on.
We use only the most cutting edge of technology. Is it? John Col- It is.
We have two. Thank you.
Well, both of those statements are something that we like here. We like the ideas, and that probably echoes the sentiment of a lot of people. And boy, if only Framework were here. Oh, they are, so they could hear that too. So with that, we'll move on to, anybody want to discuss the public comments? Or are we good? Okay, let's move on to item 5, discussion, action, presentation, report items. And 5A is the appointment of a student member. And Mikhail is getting
Mikhail
up,
will present that.
and she's running.
For the record, Mikhail Finkel, Executive Services Coordinator. Yes, we received an application from Renee Payne. I emailed her about the appointment. I have not spoken to her since, or received an email back since we received the application, or letting her know that we were having it on the agenda tonight. So I'm not sure if you want to table this, and I will try to reach out again. I think-
Yes, table it.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Item B is the initial check-in meeting with Framework.
So we have Framework, Leslie Bain and Bobo Kai is also online, as well as some of their staff. I think I see Perry there too as well. They did provide just kind of an outline agenda of what they would like to go over tonight, and this will be the bulk of our meeting. Just introduction and roles, we'll review and confirm the work plan, look at the project schedule, provided and talk about an outline for outreach and planning around that, and then communication and website. So if you want to press the button right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. I'll turn it over to Leslie.
Okay. I couldn't help myself. I wanted to come up and see you guys in 3D. It's just too much zooming in the world. And it's just such a beautiful place. So making a day of it and going to do the reconnaissance mission and find all the art that's on your list. And found the mermaid right off the bat. So anyway, today is the kickoff meeting, and we went back and looked at what we wrote in our proposal to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. And there is a presentation, if Bobo, you want to bring that up for us. It should match what you've got on what was on your desk. So the first thing that we want to start with, and it's kind of nuts and boltsy tonight, and we can just talk about our aspirations as well, but we want to get ourselves set up for success tonight and line up a schedule and talk about outreach and talk about organizing ourselves. So the first thing I want to do is tell you about our team. I'm super proud of our team. And I think some of you have read the bios and stuff from our proposal. And I'm not going to tease anybody that didn't, that's wearing orange. But anyway, so.
Everybody looked right at me. Everybody looked at me, right? I can even feel Bobo's eyes staring right at me.
Well, we're looking forward to some magic here. So anyway, my name is Leslie Bain. I'm an urban designer, I'm an architect, I'm a musician, and I love arts and culture. I love trying to bring arts and culture and the things that people love and talk about those with communities and see how we can leverage that, how we can make it be really making you more of who you are as your best selves as Oak Harbor. We did listen to the approval online, and we very much want this to be about you. We want it to be a plan that works for you. There's lots of different ways of approaching an arts and culture plan. You're a volunteer board, how you're going to leverage your time, how you're going to make the most out of all the wonderful stuff you got going here and make it stronger and more visible. So anyway, we're really looking forward to that. And that's something that I've been doing for a long time, and I love it. Bobo, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry I can't make it today, but looking forward to meet all of you in person very soon in a sunny day and all the event on Oak Harbor. My name is Bobo. I was trained as a landscape architect and urban planner. I work in framework with Leslie 4 years now. I work on a lot of art and culture related things, including downtown activation, Seattle Design Festival, some art plan for Olympia and Renton. I'm an amateur painter, so I do a lot of acrylic painting in my free time. And I will serve as a project manager of this program and also the website designer. So really looking forward to work with all of you and looking forward to seeing all of you soon.
Yeah, so Bobo's going to keep us in line and on schedule and everything, but she's also really artistically, she does beautiful websites. She knows how to do all the techie stuff on that as well. So I think you'll really like working with her. Jeff can't be here, but he is a planner that loves arts and culture, and we look to him to help. A lot of communities have things in their code that prevent things from happening. Whether it's food trucks or murals. We've been working in Pasco, and they had a lot of things we had to get off the books from an earlier era where you had to like do background checks for community dances, whatever that meant. So anyway, if there are things that are barriers to doing that, Jeff was the planning director in Langley, so he knows would be well. Annie Seeger is on vacation, but she is an economic whiz and understands how city budgets work and has a lot of comparative data on how cities do arts and culture. It's a little bit of a dark art. Sometimes the budget is in the economic development side, sometimes it's in parks and rec, sometimes it's in the mayor's office. So it's done differently by different cities, but there's a real different approach in different places, a different feeling about how much budget should go to that and what it should include. So she's a really great resource for thinking about things from the economic side. And after we think of all the wonderful things we want to do, the economic side kind of looms large in getting some of them done. And Perry is our artist. I've worked with Perry for, I don't know, maybe 12 years now. We started out doing an amazing skate park at Seattle Center. We've done a couple of them now. She has been doing art around the world. I'm just so excited to bring her to Oak Harbor because she is a mariner and an aviator and an amazing artist. So Perry, you can take it from there.
Thanks so much. I'm so proud to be part of this team. And I am calling in today from New Bedford, Massachusetts, where I'm researching for an exhibition at the New Bedford Whaling Museum next year on our very complex and interesting history with whales and the contemporary ocean. And as Leslie mentioned, I have experienced Oak Harbor as a day tripper, but also as a sailor and a pilot, and just think you have an incredible community there. And I'm so excited to join the conversation that's already well underway about arts and culture in Oak Harbor, and excited to help in any way that I can. Thank you.
Yeah, Perry is a working artist and as well as doing planning. She lives in Twisp usually, so she understands kind of the rural to smaller town kind of environment where you just can't drive to the theater every day. So we've got a lot of different perspectives here. We want to tap all of them and offer them to you for your best use. Okay. Next up. Yeah, that picture there was 2nd Street in Langley, and that was where Jeff and I first did a project to make 2nd Street a pretty cool place. So we're all about the placemaking aspect of things as well. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make sure we're organized well. And sometimes people have advisory boards with other, business owners or whatever. I think my understanding is that you guys are going to be we're going to be working with you. Is that correct? Excellent. And one of the things that I think makes for success is this has to be your plan, so we have to have a lot of communication with you, step by step, so that what we end up with at the end of the day is something that works for you. So we want to make sure that there's enough communication for that. Whether we touch base at your regular meeting, if we've got some new stuff or questions for you, whether it's every couple of months, but we want to make sure that there's room on your agenda to make this really work and give us the input that we need to do that. So Brian, your thoughts on how regularly we want to meet?
Well, we have a once-a-month commission meeting, and we have opportunity to meet by committee also once a month. So that gives us a total of 3. I know that usually for these art plan endeavor, it's a little front heavy with just information gathering and the survey work and having the firm get to know the community a little better. We've talked about having them at Holland Happening, and so I think that trying to front load as many of those meetings as you feel that we need for you guys to feel like we're on the right track, that framework has what they need as far as information. And then there's usually a little bit of a lull as far as meetings goes, where they go back and they disseminate all of that and chew on it and put together a draft. That takes a little while to do on their part. And then we'll kind of come back with feedback, with checking in and reviewing the draft, seeing what updates there are, if there's other input. So I don't know, that'd be my recommendation is maybe rather than setting a recurring schedule of meetings, I think we can do that maybe on a monthly basis, but we might want to, I guess, take that budget for meetings and kind of split between the front end and the back end when we're doing all the information gathering, and then we're coming to the deliverables and making sure that we're happy with the end product.
Yeah, maybe we could just make sure we have a touch base, and if we need to meet, then we can meet, but just to let you know what we're up to. Okay, I think when we kind of go through the task list, that might be helpful too. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is the background research, and I want to go over what was in the request for proposals. So I want to make sure that we touch on these, and as it said here, it is a starting point. One is the inventory of current public art and future opportunities for placemaking and public art. So you guys do have a list of a lot of stuff, so that seems like a good starting point. Are there things that aren't on there? Well, let's just say we'll use that as a starting point.
We have a list. It's hard to know what we don't know. So, right. So, right. Trying to find what is not on there is just going to take a little bit of footwork and investigation.
Okay, but we've got a good start at it, which is terrific.
I would say with that inventory list, what we don't have is the particulars of each of the pieces. Not all of them do we know. Okay, we want to make sure that it's filled out with, okay, we know what the artist is, when the piece was placed, and maybe just a little blurb. If there's a way to either contact the artist or get some background on some of these pieces that we don't have a lot of information on. Ultimately, what we would like to do is to be able to create some kind of an art walk or ability for placards, or maybe it's a QR code or something like that, in conjunction with a website where we have a GIS layer or something that lists all the art pieces. They can click on it, they can see the piece, they see the artist, they see a little blurb about the inspiration about the piece. That's kind of the vision.
Okay. So instead of them kind of being disparate things, that there might be something to glue it together as a set of pieces. Okay. All right, that sounds great. The idea of placemaking is dear to our hearts, so we're really interested in kind of understanding the layout and where some things could really help you magnify the kind of placemaking that you want to do. I know you've got alley improvements going in there, which is very cool. So some things that you want to highlight and help people find. One other question is the location. A lot of stuff is in the downtown. I think neighborhoods are a thing here, that people really do identify with a neighborhood. Is that true? We looked at your comprehensive plan, and it did really say that neighborhoods were something that people identified with.
I'll let you guys speak to that. Chris?
I think there's developments, some of the older developments that people kind of identify with.
Push your mic down.
Yeah, make sure your mic's on.
Oh, that
Mary.
one. It's called Mike. Hi, Mike. Some of the older neighborhoods, and especially, I think I'm new here, so someone would say I live in Crosswoods 1 and 2. What does that mean? Or there'll be like something Heights. So, but everybody doesn't know where all of these places are, but there will be people, mostly younger people. I think the neighborhood identification comes from younger families that are playing sports or they have some activities versus the general, the more wider population. So you have to, it's like kind of cliquey, I would say, with the neighborhoods, that everybody doesn't know who's who. So I don't know if that makes sense, but everybody doesn't know where every place is. So
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody's identifying versus just living here and like I live on this street.
Yeah, I think there definitely is a transient nature to, the community, especially with the naval families. So, yeah, we're pretty new as well. I would say, and we live in a pretty established little development. We're in West Meadows. They're off of Crosby, around the corner from Heller, and it's pretty, kind of
Right.
established neighborhood. But
Small town.
I don't know. I think mostly the communities are almost organized by like schools.
Right, by school.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, where are you? I'm over by Broadview. I'm over by Hillcrest. So, and the rest of it is kind of like general geographic locations where you might live, but it's not like, hey, let's go meet at Crosswoods or that doesn't work.
Okay, the question comes from, do you want art really clustered in the downtown area, or are there places further out? Is art in the parks something that you're looking for? Or do you want to have more of a magnet in the downtown, or some of both?
So Chris Wittgenstein here. To kind of piggyback off what everybody's kind of indicated as a long-term resident, spent a lot of years here. Absolutely, by school is how we divide the main part of the sections up. It's on those regards, plus Scenic Heights and Fort Nugent, right? And so I think as an envision and the community and how to display art and bring people into our community to find the art, highlighting those parks in those communities, because there's little parks throughout, I think would be an approach to put a little bit of art out there as well. Majority of it is most likely downtown along our waterfront, which is where we drive a lot of our tourists, I guess, and people come into the community. We want to drive them to those places as well. So maybe some artwork at different, historical places in the community might be as well. Something along those lines.
And Tracy just commented kind of all the above. She likes the idea of arts and parks as well as downtown, focusing on that.
Okay, cool. Develop recommendations for arts programs and cultural events. It would be great to get a list together if you don't have one of all the events that are going on, because there's a lot of them, which is great. As a starter, are there some things that you feel like are missing in terms of events and art programs? And this is just a first touch at that. Yeah.
I think what's missing is like a culturally diverse festival that includes everybody. United Nations of festivals.
I think there's room in September for that. After the music fest.
And there was, I visited out of, in California, and I was in Bakersfield of all places, but it had this really cool annual kind of chalk art festival that they did, and they shut down this huge shopping center parking lot, and they took classic artwork and then had teams that did like, I don't know, 10 by 10 chalk art of classic, artists, like Van Gogh. I mean, it was really it was like, wow, this is Bakersfield. But it was really, but it was very well organized. And then I think it was the 15th annual event that attracted students. They had teams, like from the high school, different schools, colleges. So that's an idea that drew people out. However that would look, that's something to think about, to draw people in as well. That brings the economic piece, but also the community piece, but it's also the all Whidbey piece. So that struck me for that.
Yeah, some amazing stuff I've seen in chalk. It's like,
I'll just add, J.R. Russell speaking, we have a lot of energy, but there's all disparate groups that are out there. And we've never had anything where we've come together, we've pooled all our assets. You have so many events that say, that happened this weekend? I didn't hear about that. Or who's doing that? Well, somebody's already doing that. The school's doing this, and you still have people, we have a playhouse here? Or where's your Parks and Rec guide? There's a lot of things that could be done, and to be honest, that's why you're here, because this is the first time that we've saying, hey, let's try to address this and come up with a plan which will create processes which could kind of really ignite this thing to make it take off.
yeah, that sounds great. Okay, well, we could talk about this a lot, but let's just, we're going to keep going on the nuts and bolts here. Design and process for consignment and donation of public art pieces, calls for artists, procedures, best practices for support of local artists. So I think a lot of this is going to be Perry leading the charge on that. There's a lot of good practices out there in how you do these things. So this one, I think, will look at best practices and adapt them to, whatever the particularities are here.
Yeah, I think this is a main point for us wanting to do the plan as well.
Yeah.
The commission has had a lot of artists have come forward saying, hey, we have a piece we want in place, and we really haven't had a process for reviewing or having standards for how we do that, looking at what are the appropriate locations for that. Right now, we kind of look around and say, well, maybe it fit here well or here well, and so really identifying where are the opportunities for placement of art, where do we have well-established art, how do we do placement in a way that is cohesive and maybe can lend itself to other activities like an art walk or something like that. So.
Right. Yeah, because you don't always want everybody's art.
Right.
There's maintenance issues, et cetera. Okay, so I think that's going to be straightforward. Perry, do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, I'll just say that, what's so encouraging is that it starts with an invitation. There are plenty of communities that, don't even really know how to put forth the invitation for artists to, hey, come forward, let's figure this out together. Yes, the art is here, but it's uncoordinated. So the fact that you're creating an invitation for artists to come forward is remarkable and unusual. And I really hope that one way I can help is by speaking artist to artist with your creative community there and understand what artists needs, what artists are interested in expressing. But without your invitation, that conversation couldn't even begin. So thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the questions there is you want to have the local artists be supported. You might also want to bring some people in. But I think, it's really nice to focus on your own creativity and your own creative community, that you don't need to have, the rock stars all come in and put their art here. So, again, that's a conversation to have with you guys. But I think, the homegrown, you've got, I know there's a lot of artists around here. How do we find them and get their input is going to be one of the things that we want to ask you about, the best places to find them and gather them. And there's individual artists, there's artists organizations. I know that there's some working with all of Whidbey Island, but what's yours, what's the next increment out, and where does it make sense to bring people in to kind of get you guys jazzed about the things that you do. And then there's the tourist economy, which you bring a lot of people in here, a little quieter here than when the sun's going to be a little stronger. What's going on all year versus what's going on in the summer. And just from the comments that we heard at the beginning, where do you do it when it's kind of cold and wet?
And I really appreciate those comments, Perry. I think we really do want to situate ourselves in a position where we're being deliberate and purposeful with our not consignment, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Curatorial.
Well, just that we want to, put out call for artists and say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and develop that purposefully in the community rather than be reactionary, which is, I think, kind of how we have been in the past. Yeah.
Therese Kingsbury,
Yeah.
I know that Langley, and you have a connection to Langley with the gentleman on your panel.
Yeah.
They have a rotational art program, very small. I mean, it's 2nd Street, and it's like 9 pieces of art. And I know most of the artists, and they rotate, they sell, and they rotate and they sell. And then there's Lake Oswego, which is the huge version of that.
Right.
So you don't have to invent it. It's already been invented. You just have to pick something that is closer to our fit, which is right there next to us is Langley. So we could do the rotational art. And then there's given places, and pieces are jurred, and then they're placed for a year or two, and a stipend is given to the artist for delivering, loaning, and then uninstalling and reinstalling art. So there's already a recipe.
Yeah, that's a great model, and we redid 2nd Street with Jeff, so that was a super fun project. And another place that they do that well is Olympia. So they have these plinths, and they put the sculptures on them, and everybody goes out, and what they do is they pick one every year to go into their permanent collection. But the nice thing about supporting the artists is that it's visible, people can buy it, so they can get their work out there and hopefully sold.
Yeah, and I'd like us to plan for it. Commission pieces, that's what I was trying to think of, that we're actually approaching artists with, hey, we want to put out, we have this location, and here's what we want to reflect in that, and not give you too much direction, but kind of a frame, and then give us some drafts of what you think would be great for us.
It's kind of nice that people get to vote on which one they want to put into their permanent collection on that one. I think there was a little bit of frustration that they kept getting bird sculptures. But
One great suggestion is the chalk drawing suggestion from Bakersfield. I saw that project and it was remarkable. But it provided an avenue for expression for people that are deeply creative but don't self-identify as artists. So if you're concerned about, creating a commission opportunity and that you're just going to have all comers, and then how do we manage that? Part of the way to manage that is to create other opportunities that are maybe temporary artworks or less of an investment for the city, so that everyone can play without everyone competing, for what that's worth.
Sorry, I was unmiked. I was just saying, the Bakersfield idea as well is like, shutting down a huge parking lot may not be an option here, but shutting down Southeast Bayshore Drive between City Beach, basically Pioneer and Midway, and opening that up and dividing it up with no vehicles down there, having it street cleaned, I think is a prime spot to do that, which also brings that down to people into the downtown, tying it in with a festival weekend of some sort. That I love the idea of a diversity across the board, in addition to what we already have.
Cynthia?
Connection.
We've been together as a group for a handful of years, and there is not a shortage of ideas. I have a connection with a gentleman who organizes the Big Chalk Art down in Redmond Town Center, and talked with Terry Morgan, who is an Oak Harborite graduate Oak Harbor High School, many years ago, about bringing that show on the road off of Redmond, since the artists would be together. And this is just an example of what conversations have taken place over the handful of years we've been together. With no plan in place, it doesn't move forward. So I really just want to express my appreciation for this contracted partnership we're entering into, because it's been painful trying to bring any of these very valid, wonderful ideas from this group or from our community to fruition when we have to bring things to council for approval and they have their own ideas. So the plan is going to help steer all of that, because it will become part of their comprehensive plan.
That's great, and I think getting this into comprehensive planning is really good, because then you can point to the decision makers that everybody's agreed they're going to do something.
I just want to add one thing here.
Yeah.
To piggyback on what Cynthia is saying, don't ask us any questions right now, or don't look for any, hey, what do you guys think? Don't do that right now, because we're about ready to throw up on the table. You want ideas? We could be here all night, and that should be our next meeting. That's when we leave here today. We know we've got homework to do, and we can start on this. So we can skip over these broad brush ideas right now, and let's just listen to what you say, because we'll be here all night.
Okay, well, I love that you've got ideas. I think what might be really helpful is to set some goals to start out with, because everybody's got their own pet idea, and that's why nothing ever happens, because it's all splintered, because everybody's got their pet idea. I think that if we think about what we're trying to accomplish, that will help the priority setting, that we can coalesce around some achievable ideas. So, we want it to be fun, but I think some of the things I've heard is you want to bring community together. And that's really, it's so important. We live in a region that there's a lot of demographic shift, and you guys have a particular set of demographic shifts here. How do you actually come together and be a community? How do you get the old guard to meet the new families? I mean, if you've got kids in school, you meet each other. If you don't, it's harder. So I think we'll put together a draft set of goals, but I think that's the discussion that precedes priorities for which projects are the ones that you want to move forward, because not all of them can happen at once. Okay, the next, number 4, is the development of an arts website. And Bobo, do you want to just talk a little bit about websites?
Yeah, sure. So website, we have been using website a lot since COVID. It's a good way to synthesize information, also interact with your user. So there are a lot of ways to do website and a lot of feature. First of all, we want to understand what you guys would love to show on the website. I can give some example of what we did and using website to connect with community. For example, like Brian mentioned before, we can integrate a maps of arts of Old Harbor on a website, so visitor can click on it and look at different artwork and the feature. Posting call for artists documents and art plans, so people can share information on it, and also sharing event information. This is a good way to gather all the program, events, artworks onto the same place, and people can sign up through a newsletter to get the updated information and the latest event. So that's something a website generally can do. There are some more advanced feature that we can also pursue, but we want to hear from you guys how you guys are using your current Art Commission website right now, and what kind of feature you guys would wish to see come out from this project, and we'll come back with homework how we can advance that.
I think one of the things to think about is it's great to have an events calendar, but somebody's got to spend a lot of time making sure it's right. So, and having the arts located doesn't have a lot of, the change is fairly slow. Yeah.
I do know, I used to sit on the chamber, our local chamber board, and they do a very good job of an events calendar, be it their event or a community event. And I'll be happy to share that with you.
Great.
It's a really good place to start as far as a holistic view of all the things that go on in town, be it chamber sponsored or not.
I think if somebody else can do the event side of things, you're going to be a lot better off. Unless somebody wants to maintain that website.
And the one thing, J.R. Russell here again, the one thing about a website is because we haven't had one, there's no reason for anybody to go around looking for it. They don't even know that there's this massive, this potential great thing out there. And so we have no visibility. There's nothing that has been done to that's coming right now. That's what we expect. But there's no reason for anybody to pick up right now and say, oh, I can't wait to look at the arts, what's going on arts-wise in Oak Harbor. That's not in anybody's mind right now.
Yeah, I think one thing that we'll do before we make a lot of decisions about the content of the website is to look what's out there, like the Chamber of Commerce. And I think there's tourism stuff out there. So what we don't want to do is reinvent a wheel, but we want something that's special and really art-focused, but something that people want to go to. So we'll have that discussion. There's some, the web design has gotten really better and better, and Bobo's really good at it. I can't say that I know how to do it, but she's really good at it, so that's great. Okay. Number 5 is policy best practices for guiding Arts Commission and City Council decision-making. I think, we've talked a little bit about that. I think the goal setting, prioritization, clarity, and really some defined actions are the best way to do that. If you can embed some things in your comprehensive plan, that's even better than having it in the art plan only. But we'll see how that goes and walk that through with decision makers. We do want to have a touch base with the city council, because it's surprising people's never good. So we want to make sure that we understand what the drivers are for them, whether it's economics or quality of life, or just having creative individuals that get together. So I think it would be good to touch base with them on the goals as well, and look at your stated goals and make sure those are in sync.
I just want to comment. I've just asked Mikhail to share the part of the RFQ that you're referring to, because we're trying to follow you in what you left us, and it is not matching
Sorry,
up.
we got it from you.
Okay.
So.
Yes. Everybody's flipping through saying, what is she looking at? But you are looking at the actual RFQ requests in order.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, we're at the last one, which is to identify. Sorry about that.
Great, now you tell us.
Yeah. Well, I thought you. Okay. Identify future funding sources and partnership opportunities, and those are really powerful. I think, in partnering, you can't just partner with the city. There's like some human beings at the city, and they have to have time available to be a partner. But I think one really good role for the city is to be a convener that brings these organizations together, that brings individuals together so that they can agree on a thing. And I think that's a good role for you guys too. Ideally you have some feelers out into different kinds of communities in town, and really bringing people together as a convener and trying to get something that there's a shared enthusiasm for. Which brings resources, and Annie will help us with that. Okay, let's talk about the work plan and the schedule. Okay, so I think that you've got, okay, okay, so here's the work plan. We are at the kickoff meeting, which is great. We're getting committee input. We'll be doing further research and getting a survey set up. So I think we want to talk about what we want to ask. If there are particular things that you feel we need to ask, there's again kind of best practices of, what people are excited about, what they feel is missing in the gap of their, arts and culture here. I think that we want to make sure that we reach the whole community. And I think I like doing arts and culture because culture is a broader term. Some people hear the word art and they get kind of twitchy, but culture is for everybody, and we have one. Sometimes we don't think we do, but we're like, fish not knowing we're in the water. We do have a culture, and there are beautiful things in the culture and maybe some things that we don't want to highlight, but you have a very unique mix of people here. And you see the plains there. That's beautiful art too. And I think we want to think about how to be really more inclusive in thinking about arts and culture, and how we can share across things that are sometimes divides. Can, if done right, art and culture can be a connector. Food's good, food's always good.
I just want to say, with Brian's direction, this group spent several hours on drafting up a survey for our community. So there is one in print or in a computer somewhere that would be a great place for you to start. And with your experience, tell us where we could enhance or improve it.
Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. I think one thing about surveys, now that we have SurveyMonkey and all these things, there is a bit of survey fatigue from a lot of people because you get asked for a lot of them. I think we want to make it fairly short and sort of fun. Maybe there's a prize. I don't know. I think that we want to pay a lot of attention into getting it out. Can we put it out to school kids? How do we find the people that don't necessarily always take surveys for art? How do we get the different voices in there? One of the things that we can do is at the events that you do have, having a presence, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That gets the people that go to the events, so they like events. We know that. How do we find the people that don't go to events? So anyway, we will enlist your help. Parks people often have really good ways of reaching out to everybody. So we want to make sure that the survey goes out to lots of people. Okay, what else is on our list? Okay, then we said in our proposal that we like to do residencies. We like to come up here and be here for several days. That's a great time to start talking to people, talking to organizations, talking to artists, etc. Just being here and going out for a beer with you guys or whatever, just to really understand and have some good discussions with as wide a range of people as possible. We had a schedule, and we're 1 month off of that schedule, but there's one in your packet. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So, it's April, we've got the kickoff meeting. We want to do some research and background stuff before we come for the residency. Because one of the things that we want to do at the residency is saying, here's the background research we've got. Did we miss anything? Does this feel right to you? So we're thinking a little later in May, and there's so many events that we may be able to piggyback on something that's going on for fun. Maybe being here Friday, Saturday would be good, because Friday is business people, Saturday is, not. So we'll set that up. We don't have to do that tonight, but I think just laying out a general schedule and seeing if there are milestones on your end that we want to hit. There is an event coming up April, 26th, 27th? Right?
Is that right? 27.
27th and 28th, okay. I can't do that because actually I have concerts that weekend, but Bobo is available and would be happy to come up and hang out at a table at that event. And if we can get the survey together quickly, which sounds like we've got a leg up on that, then we can start getting that survey info out, and we'll have treats and stuff like that for people that take the survey. Sometimes there's people that don't do digital, so we can sit there with them with paper surveys, which is helpful for some, people who are, not computer users. There still are some. We were thinking with Perry of a fun thing we could do for events, hopefully a kid activity, but something artistic and super fun that can also maybe help us with some input for knowledge. We'd like to do mapping, like where's your favorite thing, or where would you like a thing, what kind of thing would you like, draw it for us. Anyway, we'll think about that pretty quickly too, so that we have something fun at the table. It's not just somebody there to talk to. Which is always
Quick question for
Yeah.
either Brian or maybe even Mikhail can help us. Being that that's 2.5 weeks away, are we already planning to have a city booth set up at Holland Happening during the festival, whether it be parks, whether it be just a city in general booth?
Yeah, Craig's actually going to go in detail on that later, but
Okay.
We do need to talk about that a little bit because we're sort of split up. You guys wanted to do an activity about naming the ducks downtown, right? So that's actually kind of down the street from where they're doing the Kids Corner, and we are doing the Kids Corner activities for that event. So where we put the arts booth and where we have them, whether it's with the kid activities or kind of down by where we're doing the duck activity or whatever. I guess we got to talk about that a little bit. But yes, we are already.
Okay.
We do have a presence, and we are. We also have a little rack of information of some other city things there.
Yeah, because I'm a big proponent of utilizing those events to connect, and this particular event, for those who are fairly new to the community, is one of the big, has almost historically always been one of the biggest. Though we don't have the rides coming in with the carnival like we have years and years ago, but Holland Happening has almost always been the bigger of the two parades that happen, in between April and 4th of July. And so you want to get that input from
So before we-
core locals. That's
I want to
the
just
spot.
jump on this, because we got 2 weeks. So can we pick a date out that we can talk about this? Can we come up with something like that? Let's come up with a date and time. At least have it by tomorrow where we let all the people know that we're going to meet. Cynthia?
I was under the impression, Brian, that the chamber was giving us a booth for Framework to be on the street, and we were going to participate with Framework however we could.
I know they were just really talking location with us as far as that, so they were prepared to set up a couple booths over by the duck.
Okay,
There,
yeah, and I know
have
that they were,
there.
yeah.
So I believe.
I
they were
think
talking
that's in
about that
order,
together.
if somebody is available,
Yeah.
or if people are available, yeah.
Yeah, I'll volunteer a couple hours. That's good.
Okay.
Oh. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, Liz is out of town, but we were planning on talking about it tonight. It's on the agenda. And we wanted to get some commitments on manning the booths, right? So.
utilizing the naming of the ducks as the draw for the kids to come in gives you an opportunity to have parents, while they're waiting to name the ducks and do all that, do surveys.
And we've got a coloring sheet that's already,
Oh, you do?
yes, that has the ducks. It even has the artist's name and what the piece is called. So it's black and white and ready to be colored, and right now it's got a blank back.
Perfect.
So I already showed Liz that, and it's a blank back, so there's room for something else. And that's what we were actually saving it for framework, for you guys.
Great. So if you would let us
Yep.
see that, we'll do something with it as appropriate. I think that way we'll get that survey, we'll take a look at the survey and get that added too, so that that's ready to go. That's really exciting. So we're starting with a bang.
And I'm going to speak about an elephant in the room, about surveys, because we've had surveys and we've had issues on this.
Yeah.
And right now, that didn't have a good flavor for, how these went, how they were distributed,
Yeah.
taking action on when you get 1% back of survey and then making decisions on that. And then the other blunt thing is this commission right here, with all these ideas and all this energy and all this passion that we're trying to do, we're still perceived as in conflict with city council. And even listening to the idea of having a plan developed, approved, but it was also, reluctant, that's a lot of money, we could have built roads with that. We've had run-ins with city council not really embracing the idea of art and then taking it out on us, and we've been taking hits on this. So the vision right now, what the city knows is that there's like $300,000 out there that the art commission has that could be used for other things. So we still have, there's perceptions and realities and some tensions that I think you should be aware of, and talk about it later, but we don't have a good relationship yet, and it's unfair because we want to. So that's the elephant in the room, and I don't know if you talk about it, I'll just throw that out there, so I'm sorry.
I would like to also piggyback on the elephant in the room, and I think it comes down to a lot of people in this town don't understand art and culture, so they don't know how to embrace it or bring it into the community. And so they just think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I've read the survey,
Yeah.
so I know what you're talking about. That's why I think culture needs to be inclusive. It can't be exclusionary. It can't be, I know about art and you don't. It really, it's art and culture, and it's really who you are, who you want to be, how you can be a community together, how you can express that in the most beautiful way possible. So,
And you talked about the survey being electronic. I think that's a great idea. I don't think it should be on the back of the artwork, like, who's going to tally that? It has to be
Yeah.
something that you can do on your phone or something.
well, I think, these surveys are not statistically significant surveys. So I think, we want to get input from people. We want to give people the opportunity to give input. We want to find people. We don't want it to get hijacked. So I think it's really incumbent on all of us, because you guys know your community, to find ways of getting it out. I mean, what do the kids want, And I think, how can we show some different images of what arts and culture look like? 4th of July is great. Everybody's, feeling really good, hopefully, on 4th of July. I'm planning on being here. How can we have a positive presence? Because arts and culture should, and things can get hijacked, but I think we need to find some ways of turning that ship around. Okay, let's keep going.
Can I just say one thing
Yeah, sure.
before we start? Because I think I'm the newest person living, and I'm not sure about Valerie.
I'm brand new.
Anyway, I hear the frustration with my fellow commissioners, but I also see a way. And I do not think that that all is lost on a community that doesn't understand art and culture. I think that part of our initiative should be to help a community move forward into the present in ways to help them understand that they are already living in an artful life. And without showing them how much they don't know and allowing them to embrace the things that they have, and then allowing us to be partners in their building towards understanding that they are also artful without changing their perspectives on who they are. So I think that they've been told that they are not, or what they are, and I think that that causes resentment.
Yeah.
And then so there's this overcoming of us and them versus this culture. That windmill isn't a piece of art, as is, the sculptures.
Yeah.
It takes effort, thought, and creativity to come to these places, and I think that that's where we need to sit ourselves down with the community.
Yeah.
So,
That's beautifully put. I mean, maybe on the art inventory, we put some things on there that do not have a named artist on them. There's windmills, there's airplanes, there's, who knows? Maybe there's some historic neon, just, there's some things that are part of the culture here, part of the heritage. Sometimes heritage can bring people together. I mean, we live in a pretty polarized world these days, and, anything can bring people apart, but I think there's ways of bringing people together by honoring the things that they care about. And I think we need to focus on that just as much as we can.
Jared, I think Tracy had a comment.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. This is Tracy Davidson. I just didn't want to share my cold with everyone. I don't want to put a wet rag on any of these discussions, but I just want to remind everyone we're already after 6 o'clock. So we've had our meeting for an hour now. We're still just on item B. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and if we want to, put the rest of the items for another time, or what might be possible, or if we're just going to extend the meeting, or what's the plan, maybe.
Thanks, Tracy. You beat me to my watchdog comments.
Brian, what else is on the agenda?
We have the MOU with the school district for the placement of the 3 totems. We have the Island County metrics report, subcommittees, not really an update, but just scheduling those, and then director's updates. So it's just kind of some updates, and a lot of those are documents we can send out, I think, and just give quick updates on. So I think we're doing all right. I think if we try and end in the next, if we give like maybe another 15 minutes, and then we move on from there.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we could also talk all night. I
If
think
people have to leave, they can leave. We've waited a long time for this to happen. And for me to stay a little bit longer, I understand everybody's concern on this, but this is important stuff. And this is our chance to get this thing and kick it off and start moving the train. So I have no problem with skipping all of that other stuff and tabling that, but let's get this part right here and let's get working on this.
tell you what, I'll kind of go through the rest of the list here, and then we can take a certain amount of time to,
Just real quick before, what is our scheduled time and what is the, per bylaws, and do we need, I mean, if we're gonna extend, there's gotta be, I mean, are we start at 6, we go till whenever? Is that, okay, I just wanted to be clear so that we weren't, you know, because if we needed to be here longer, because I know like for council, anything after, and once we hit like 9 o'clock, we have to extend.
We
right?
put out the invite till from 5 to 6:30, right?
If anybody's
But
got a
there's
problem,
no-
I've got the mayor's drawer, so when the mayor, he's got snacks that are
We
in
can,
here.
we
so-
can, I just want to make
commissions aren't
sure we
held to
didn't
the
need it,
same-
we didn't need any procedural process to extend. Okay, cool.
okay, well, the survey is really interesting. I am curious to see what you've got so far. I think let's make an effort to make sure it's broad and that people don't feel like it's an elitist crowd trying to talk them into something. Okay. But I want to get that ready as soon as we can so we can get that out there, you know, for the Holland Happening. So the residency want to think not tonight, but about how we can have our broadest reach while we're being here. It'd be nice to be in a place that's very visible where we're doing our work and people can come visit and come tell us stuff. So we can talk about that. We want to go on a walk with you guys. That'll be fun. And we want to go with a walk with whoever might be good to go on a walk with. And let's go look at what you got. And let's talk about it. And it might be interesting to arrange several walks. Maybe one is with some teenagers. Or maybe one is with some people that don't usually go on art walks. You know, how can we mix that up? Can we have a dinner? So anyway, we'll think about that. Again, we want to make it work for your community and get some people to talking to each other that don't know that they would like talking to somebody else. So that will be sometime in towards the end of May, I think, mid to end of May. We'll look at people's schedules. Maybe we can touch base with some other electeds or decision makers. I don't know how you want to handle that, but again, I just don't want to surprise anybody. I want to have people have buy-in as it develops. Then the 4th of July, we can be at a table at that event. I think that would be great. And then we would have the second residency end of the summer, where we come back and we have a draft of a plan. We can talk to people about it. It's still flexible, but there's something to look at and say, oh, I like that, or you're missing this thing, or my priority was something else. So anyway, that's really kind of going through the work plan there. And we just look forward to working with you on all of it. So anyway, that's, I think, you know, there's plenty of things to talk about, and we will do that over the coming time. If you guys have things you want to just get off your chest or put in the mix, why don't you filter them through Brian, and he'll send all the appropriate ones our way.
I just want to jump in real quick, and again, thank you guys for taking the time to come up and visit with us as well. Brian, you had mentioned something about meetings and months and whatnot, and you mentioned something about subcommittees. My question, I guess, then to you guys as the commission and the board, have you created this subcommission that's working directly with Framework? Yes. Okay, and so you should have an extra meeting that way as well, where a lot of this can be done, and then presented back to the body as a whole, and then, right, as I think through procedural processes and how I know it's going to end up in front of another group of people that are managing monies.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and you know, to touch base, there is the message going out. It's not as prevalent. This community really struggles with understanding how the funding really works in our process, and so not having people understand when we say we have $300,000 in an Arts Commission budget, why that can't be moved, right? And so trying to educate and teach that process, I think, is part of that process, which is why there's resistance, because as the elected officials, we get inundated with community members that think we're wasting money on art, and having to explain that this is already earmarked funds and it's gonna happen anyways. This is what, we're trying to do the best we can, right?
Yeah.
And so that message is challenging as well. So I wanted to reassure this board that, you know, from my perspective, that's exactly what I would like to be conveying back out to our community members as well as you guys as well, so.
I would, this is something Annie's really good at, but I would imagine that a lot of money comes into this town through tourism. And having venues and having, you know, things.
We get some, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's all, tons and tons of money, but, you know, a lot of things are expensive.
It should.
Yeah.
And it could.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's why we're excited to have you here, because we can make this happen.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, there's a lot of people who have put a lot of work into evidence of why funding arts is good for the economy. I mean, some of us just love the arts because we think it you know, is great in and of itself, but other people really do need that economic component, and it's true. You know, if there are things to do that attract people, they come here, they stay, they spend money, they eat out, you know. So you can overdo that too, get inundated, but.
I'm sorry. There are reports on the economic numbers. The Dean Runyon report we'll share with you, and the Washington State puts out their arts fund. And I've been in touch with Annette there at the state level, and she gave us county numbers. And I just got this week our zip codes broken out of the county numbers.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'll share that with everybody as well, because it just got in my email
That's great.
2 days ago.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to make the case in many different kind of modes.
And lastly, I'd like to introduce you to our mayor, Ronnie Wright, who's
Hey,
walked in and joined us.
nice to meet you. Watch out for the snacks in your drawer.
I just want to go on record as saying I did not eat all of them.
Okay, let me just close by saying I'm really, really delighted to be here and to meet all of you guys. And there's just a lot of good energy, and you know, we want to channel it so that some things can happen and have something to show for that.
So, quick wrap up on the kind of the to-dos. We'll send the graphics over to Framework for the naming activity. I'll double check with Liz on the booth setups, but Craig and her will get together on doing a site map so you guys know where everyone's going to be. We'll send out a sign up for manning the tables, and then we'll also make sure that we got you on the 4th of July event for a booth there as well, and we'll probably have more discussion on that at a future commission item. On the survey, I'll send you the survey that we put together. Yep, got that. That's.
Where does that leave us? Where are we at now? Are we at C? Are we at the totem, at the MOU? Is that we're moving to that next item? So the placement of the 3 totems. Cynthia.
I did meet with the superintendent at the schools and presented her pictures of the entire Kinnebrew collection, outlined what the commission's idea was about having the collection come down the Highway 20 corridor ending at the park. Her immediate reaction to the 3 totems was she was concerned that we wanted it rusty, as she envisioned fielding calls from the public on why it wasn't being kept up. But she was more interested in the Gate of Inspiration. One, the title, being at the school district's office, is kind of cool. And I sensed she might have liked that piece a little bit better, knowing that it was already approved to be installed at Friend Marsh. But she's asked that we give her a few dates and times that she might visit the pieces to take a look at. And her follow-up question was about the names of them, how it came about, and I learned that we purchased them from Sculpture Northwest and they were renamed. So there's the artist didn't have any connection to the names right now. So I did tell Michelle that we would get back to her with a few dates, and I think, Brian, you and Treese wanted to get out to Public Works and look at them too. So if that conversation surfaces, could you include her on the dates?
You bet. Yeah, we'll do that. That's interesting. I didn't know the Sculpture Northwest named them. I thought they were
And
the original
the
artists.
the superintendent and the assistant superintendent are both artists. They're both art teachers, former art teachers, so they like this stuff. So that moves us on to item D, Arts in the Island County Metrics Report. Arts in the item and the metrics report, item D. And I'm looking at you, Brian, because I don't know what that is.
I think, don't you have this, Cynthia?
Did I send it to you? Is that the one I just mentioned?
I don't, let me look here.
Is that the following the 92 zip code out?
Well, it's the one about it for the county. Do you want to just table that and we can look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll table that.
I'll see if I can pull it up, but we can go to the next thing.
While you're doing that, we can go do one of the subcommittee updates. I'll start right now with the outreach. And before I came here, we just had a meeting with one of our vendors to talk about wrapping of the electrical boxes. And the boxes have been measured by the city. The vendor has those information. We met with one of the teachers from the high school who runs the graphics department. So she's going to take all the photos for all the art that has come in and digitize it, and then we can get it to the vendor so that we're starting to move ahead of this so that we can start wrapping these boxes. And we started identifying a couple of the boxes right away. So this is moving pretty cool. So, and I know, I'm just looking, now I'm looking, there's Perry. I can see that person right there. Hi. Yeah, you're like this, yeah, because we're having, we've got like 9 boxes, potentially more, and the schools and the kids are going to be wrapping these things, along with the seniors at the center and then the art commission. So, and we're going to see how many kids we can involve in this thing. And the art teachers are all been contacted and they're all pretty excited. And then I've also had a vendor approached me with the idea of looking at the signage coming in and out of Oak Harbor, and would like to be involved with that. They'll donate time. They want to contribute to that. And I know that the chamber is looking. Okay. And, well, we've got somebody that wants to donate free stuff and has a lot of, abilities. So, okay, that's all I got for our committee.
And placement committee is myself, Carla, and Tracy, and we are just excited about finding time with Framework when it's appropriate.
Yeah, I think this is the one you sent.
This comes from Washington State numbers. And like I said, this is the county's economic drivers. And they just provided me this week 98277 and 28, which is the base population out of those numbers. So you'll email that out to everybody too.
This is such great information to have, and just, I'm excited about this because behind every statistic is a story,
Yes.
and that without the stats, we can't have the story, but I think it's in the story that the story of what it means to increase creative jobs by 2%, or what does it mean to increase creative industries by 11%, that we're going to find that story and amplify that story. This is fantastic work that you've done.
And in addition to that, the one I mentioned earlier is the Dean Runyon report, and I believe the EDC and the Whidbey Camino Tourism Group hire them to do this study for us, and that will show you numbers for tourism on the island.
So good. Thank you.
Oh, if it's going to go to, yeah, here's that. Okay, we'll send this out to everyone so you can take a look at it.
And I'll get the full covers that goes to you, Brian, for discussion.
Okay.
And Brian, if you look at your email, I just sent you a picture of the ducks. While he's doing that, what else, do we have any other subcommittee reports? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the coloring page. They're in bronze down on Pioneer. Yeah.
The artist's name is on that sign that's sitting right out front, and that is the actual, that's just the place where they're at right now, so.
It's Georgia Gerber.
Georgia Gerber, yeah.
So with that, we can move on to F, Parks and Recreation Director updates. Do you have any more stuff?
A couple of quick things. So just a reminder that the Wearable Art Show is on the 20th. Liz had a question about what you guys want to do with your table. You have 6, is that right? Yes. 6 or 8?
6 spots.
6 spots.
You've
They're
got,
reserved. So
you've
how
got
you-
6 more tickets, and just as a part of a contest, if anybody's made it this far in watching a rerun on this thing, I will give 2 of the tickets. You contact me. So,
Most of us have already purchased seats at the event, and I wanted to go back because this is the most premium seat in the entire house. And I think that they should be sold as premium seats, so we paid $65 a seat. I think they should be $75 or $80 and make another bunch of money for the fundraiser. Because we've all paid, and I don't think we need to give anything away. Even the mayor paid for a seat. Right? You know-
I'm in favor of that. If you're moving to make that a motion, I'd
If they're
second that.
sold out, if they could
Yep.
just release that they have 6 premium table, could get some attention in the next week.
Okay. Okay, everybody in favor of that? Yep, we've got nods, that's what we'll do. Greg, is that good for
What
you?
you want to do? You want to release them?
Yep.
To resell them?
Yep.
Okay.
Premium.
Sorry, technically that should have a motion.
A motion, please.
A motion and second.
I seconded it. I seconded that, and then I said, is everybody in favor of that? Pay attention.
Teresa, you can...
I think a little formality on that would be helpful.
I make a motion
I
that we
second it. Okay.
return the tickets to the center and they sell them as premiums for the last 6 seats.
I second that. All in favor? It passes, okay.
Pending a legal approval, we'll do that.
Pending legal approval, okay. Yeah,
I don't know if you're allowed to price gouge. It should just be whatever they were sold at. If you want to price gouge it, do it the day of. Yeah, but
just-
if we're allowed to do that, you know what I'm saying? You can't say, I bought my ticket for $65. There's 6 left. We're going to,
Wait.
well, no, I'm just saying like, and to say, oh, now we're going to sell them for 75. I'd be like, what the heck, you know?
we're not doing it, we're giving them back to them. You can do whatever you want, they can do whatever
Oh,
they
no,
want.
I'm just saying as a
Yeah.
suggestion, like, I would do the price increase at the door if there were still tickets available. I wouldn't increase the price. Just my opinion.
Because they're scalpers.
Okay.
Or you could move the mayor and then sell the other seats. This one is surrounded by all the...
Okay, well, that one's done, so let's move on to the next piece. We're up to the status of, status of the Angel. Oh, Arbor Day and Holland Happening.
Yeah, real quick. You want to jump on the mic and just talk a little bit about the events? Oh, yeah. Here, I'll take it.
Really? Can I have one of those back, please?
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, they're all the same. Okay, so for the Holland Happening event, what we do have is we do have the two booths, or two areas. As mentioned before, us at Rec and Parks, we're going to be running the children's corner, at the kids' corner, and then we have the Art Commission, we'll have the booth right near the duck statues. So as far as the outline of the day, we do have setup is available starting at 9 a.m. They're going to start the parade staging at 9:30. There is a parade that we are actually going to be in. They've agreed to put us near the front of the parade so we can get through it and then head on back. And they're going to keep all the city vehicles together. And then we're going to rush over to the kids' corner. That'll start 12 to 7. And then the Art Commission booth, they wanted from 11 to 7. And then on Sunday, that following day, the kids' corner and the Art Commission booth would both be 11 to 5. And then at the end, we would do the breakdown. As far as the parade, we're all going to just, get in the bus that we have. We're going to try to get it decorated. They want everything with a Dutch theme as much as possible, so we were thinking maybe tulips. We have the block rocker to play some music, and we bought a bubble machine just to get some festive feel out of it. And then we're probably going to pass out candy. Hopefully we'll have our activity guides, and if not, we'll create some sort of flyer that has some details on what to do. As far as the kids' corner, they told us to expect about 1,000 kids, and our goal is to have about 5 to 6 different activities there. One of the things that they actually requested is they really wanted to see some sort of like Delft Square painting, and that's something that if you look on the back, Liz found some great projects where you can kind of create your own Delft, which is that blue and white coloring, and you just do it right over on a paper plate, and it's actually kind of a cool little project. We were also talking about like little tissue paper tulips, fun little thing that the kids can take a little tulip home. And then we were looking at doing some games, maybe like a beanbag toss, potentially like an archery game or something like that, just to get the kids active and doing some fun stuff. So that's pretty much the day for that. Do you want me to go over Arbor Day as well?
Yeah.
As far as Arbor Day on the 26th, we are going to be working with Oak Harbor Elementary, and that's going to go on from 12 to about 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a nice little setup. It's going to be right across the street from the school over in the little volunteer park area right by our field that we own. And we're going to have our arborist is going to go out and do a demonstration for the kids. We're going to have games in a play area for the kids. We're going to have a story time for the kids, so somebody's going to read them a story. I believe it was pertaining to Arbor Day. And they're also going to be able to help do like a little craft project where they can plant their own plant, and then also they'll be helping plant trees over at Volunteer Park. So I believe that's something we'll be looking for.
And we are looking for
Yes.
volunteers for that event as well, to help run some of the activities and field games and things like that. Yes, so that's Friday, the 26th, right before Holland Happening.
Yeah.
Lots of events coming up. We will be sending out an email with looking for volunteer signups for that event, so just look for that email. As far as the statue, so there was a reconfiguration, a little bit of the base. We discovered there was a height discrepancy, so we are going out to modify the permits for that. We'll have about a 6-week extended period for revising permits. The hearing had to go possibly back to the hearing examiner. The state shoreline substantial development permit variance appeal period will be 30 days after they review that and approve the modification. So it'll be pushed out a little ways. We did look at other options to try and keep it going on track after we had the pre-construction meeting, with modifying it to kind of be inlaid into the ground or remove the base. And we did have there is a little bit of a grace height, but ultimately Sculptures Northwest wanted to keep the integrity of the vision of what they wanted to see with the pedestal and the sculpture. So it's just a little longer waiting for the permitting. It's fine. We're not on a time crunch or anything. Everyone's just very anxious after a very long process to see this ribbon cutting finally happening. So the only time consideration was just that sort of block out week for Hydros for Heroes. So the project will commence after that period. But if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to answer anything, or Therese could probably answer a few questions as well. Last thing is I sent out the commission had asked for details on expenditures for 2023, and sent that out to the commission. I'll pull it up here. I'll start here. We don't really need to go through all of it. You all have this. If you have any questions on any of these items, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll get you whatever answers I can find. There's a couple of miscellaneous on there. I'll have to figure out what that is exactly, but otherwise they're pretty well spelled out here in the spreadsheet we sent out.
So Framework and Annie has gotten these. Have we forwarded this to her?
No, but I can do that.
Annie will be very happy to see these.
Send it to her while she's on vacation.
Let's see, and that's it for us.
It's on the banner.
Oh, great.
Arts Commission banner.
Thank you.
So who want to take?
Yeah, let's have Craig take it.
Okay, so now we're up to member comments. So Valerie, you're brand new. Go ahead, come on. Talk to us.
No, I just wanted to thank everybody, and I'm just looking forward to learning and bringing beautiful things to the island.
Mary,
She already talked enough.
you're done? Your enthusiasm is so contagious. All right. All right. Therese, you got anything? Cynthia?
Only comment, and maybe for next month's agenda, I was asked to draft up something for the, what are we calling this?
The activity guide.
Activity guide. Did that go to print already? And I emailed it to Brian, so just for everybody's review and comments, that was done. I did what you asked of me.
Carla? Chris? So the homework item I see out of this would be, when do we have our, oh, Tracy, sorry, Tracy.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. In my gravelly voice. Just a few things. I'm not sure if you guys can read the chat feed. I just offered a couple little tidbits. So the first one was about that I've been reading that there are studies now coming out, the benefits of art to ease mental illness, which is a big topic these days. So that might be something we can include in our reasons for art. The other is about event seats. I just know, just out in the big event world, that seats costs can differ depending on the view you get from the seat. So I felt that suggestion was right in line with what the industry practices. And then the third thing, and I'll pass this around to y'all through email, but I've been attending and connecting with a company called Candid, which is a nonprofit resource, and they have some free webinars that I've attended. From some of their information, I put together an outline of what we might be able to use in the interim for a funding request form. And just wanted to get your guys' feedback. It's just a place to start a conversation.
Thank you. Okay, nope, Cynthia.
I just had one more thought, and I think I posted this to you, Brian, in an email when you were on vacation. But I'd like to talk about grant opportunities for art placement that's out there in Washington. And my question stemmed from the additional costs related to the installation of the Angel due to the relocation. If those could be recouped by way of a grant, that'd be really cool.
Okay. And again, I think what I was going to say, the homework project for us out of this is when do we meet with Framework to have we could have the subcommittee that to talk about the Holland Happening. And it has to be done, I'm guessing we should do this next week sometime. So if we can, we'll email we'll get the partners together, the players, and we will email that so that we can figure out a way to meet with you, whether it's via Zoom, live, something or other, and
Yeah, I think a Zoom meeting next week would work. I like that we've got the coloring duck. We'll think about some other things that might get some input from people on, what they like or would like to see. Have some initial thoughts on that, but something that we can cook up quite quickly. And then we want to pull that survey together, building on what you've got already done. That's our homework.
okay? We all good?
We'll schedule that. Kind of along those lines, just one last thing real quick. I've been doing some thinking with the expansion of all the commissions. Some of these subcommittees, we have people in that High Valley. Glad to have you on. You're hiding behind the screen, so I've been able to look at you. Looking at maybe reassigning some of those committees and changing the scheduling of them. Looking at possibly combining the Programs Committee with the Parks and Recreation Programs Committee. We're basically regurgitating the same conversations with both committees. So since we have kind of either if we go with 3 on each committee, either 2 have to double up on committees, or I was thinking if we take just 1 or 2, with just 1 or 2 from the Parks and Recreation Commission, we can have kind of a combined Programs Committee. And that allows us to separate out the placemaking with maybe having the art plan committee as kind of separate of that. We'll have quite a few tasks specifically for the art plan committee, helping staff with some of these things. So that might be worth looking at. I can send out an email. We are looking at the first Wednesday of each month for the program committee, and then for the placemaking and the art plan, the first Monday and the first Thursday of the month, if that works for you guys. And I can send that out and see what your schedule, if that works with your schedules.
Yes, let's do it. Anything
I'm
else?
open to all that.
Tracy, did you say something?
I disagreed with Brian. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, I thought she said she disagreed with Brian. I think it's a great idea.
Constantly, man.
I got it, the double negative. Okay, we're good. Do we have anything else? You guys ready to adjourn? Hey, before, Leslie, thank you. Perry, and then Bobo, I just expect you to have like a Mandalorian helmet in the background or something like that. Just so, thank you for joining. We're pretty excited. We'll work with you. And, well, thanks a lot. Let's go. Do it. Yeah, I said Perry. Did I say your name?
I heard my name.
See, there we go. Motion.
Thank you so much. It's delightful to meet all of you, and I really look forward to it.
Oh, here, watch.
Yeah.
I'll even go right around so you get a close-up.
Oh, bring it over here.
Yeah, show us the love.
Yeah, show us the mug. Oh, so nice. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Will someone second that?
I second that.
I'm just wondering if you heard. Okay.
Perry,
All
Bobo,
in
thank you for
favor?
joining us. Thanks,
Done.
Tracy.
We quit.
Nice to see you all.